Welcome back to Where is the Money? So let's talk about these rent prices.
So many Americans saying the rent is just too gosh darn high, and it's only getting higher. According to Zillow, in January, the typical asking rent was close to $2,000. That's up 0.2% from December and 3.5% from a year ago.
Now, rent prices, housing prices have been a big sticking point and concern for many Americans these days. And not even just America, other countries too, but we're in America, so let's talk about America. So rent, insurance, gas, groceries, everything is more expensive. A lot of people are trying to figure out how to cope with this, but rent is one of the big ones. So people are asking themselves, how can I still keep a roof over my head while working full time? So people are picking up second jobs, they're doing gig work on the side, they're trying to lower their expenses, they're doing all they can to stay afloat in this increasing environment of higher prices.
I don't know how to make it any more clear. We have an entire generation who is they cannot purchase a house. And it's not boohoo, millennials and Gen Zs can't buy a house, just rent. Yeah, if rent was $600, completely fine. We'd travel the world, we'd order our avocado toast, and we'd be happy. But rent is $2,000. You have an entire generation spending 30, 40, 50% of their income on rent. That is why they are broke. And why aren't they having children? Because daycare is $1,200 to $3,000 a month. Do you realize if you bought your house in 2019, 2016, 2012, 2002, pick a year, your 5-bedroom, 3-bath lake house mortgage was $900 to $1,200. It was cheaper than what Gen Zs and millennials are spending on one infant in daycare today. Your rent for a 1-bedroom was cheaper than what the average graduated college is spending on their loan amount each and every month.
Now, I don't know if you noticed it in your community, your city, your state, where you start seeing a lot of new development, specifically for renting. I live in Las Vegas, so I'm noticing in every part of town, there's new developments for rental complex, apartments, condos, everything for rent. Not so much single family homes, but a lot for specifically renting. Over the years, there's been a lot of investment companies that are buying up these apartment complexes and renting them out because they know people are priced out of the mortgages.
You know, the biggest issue is that we haven't built enough housing in the United States, and so we have this shortage of housing supply. So rents went up a lot during COVID, and then they leveled off for a while because we did start to build some new rental housing, but that's really dried up. And we also have a shortage of homes to buy. And the people who are buying homes, they're facing a market where homes are much more expensive than they've been in history. And so those people are renting longer. So we have more renters than before, and we have not enough places for them to live.
I mean, those are all really stark aspects because you can't really change any one of them. I feel for my fellow millennials and Gen Z that are all experiencing the challenge of buying an affordable home. So many baby boomers don't want to get rid of their low interest rates. So
they cannot afford to get approved for a mortgage. So what is the next option? That's renting. So now renting is in demand. A lot of the apartment renting complexes are more expensive because they're more in demand, and they're building more of them, not to make it more competitive, but to keep the cost high and preferably raise it even higher in a lot of different areas. So that begs the question, realistically, who can afford these ridiculous prices for renting?
How is America continuing to build all these ridiculous ass apartment complexes, but charging almost $3,000 for 1 bedroom? And who in the hell are affording to move into these ridiculously high, overpriced, expensive apartments? The national average salary is like $55,000, something like that. I'm not the best at math, but 56,000 divided by 12 is like $4.6 thousand a month. That's like 75% of your check gone if you're paying $3,000 a month for an apartment. Not to mention you got food, you got electricity bill, got car payment, car insurance, gas, You like to go shopping, get new clothes. God forbid you need a haircut every 2 weeks or you gotta get your hair done. And God forbid you have fucking kids' mouths to feed. That's even double. The average income earner cannot afford these overpriced ass apartments. So who the fuck are they building these apartment complexes for? And what makes it even more hilarious, every single fucking year, these greedy ass landlords continue to increase the rent. So pretty soon, if you haven't already, we're going to be seeing $4,000, $5,000 a month apartment complex prices. And my question is, why do they keep getting away with this? How, as we as a people have not gone up there with pitchforks, knives, and any type of weapon that we can find to put an end to this madness? We are literally allowing them to run our pockets fucking dry. What happened to America? We used to protest way back then. The minute taxes went over 2%. Now we are getting taxed damn near half, if not more than half our fucking money. Rent is out of control. Housing prices are out of control. Mortgage is out of control. Every single bill known to man is completely out of fucking control. And all we do is we go on TikTok, we bitch moan, we complain, and then the next day we get up, we go to work, and we pay that overpriced ass rent. Why, as we as a people have not done anything about this? Because we have not revolted. Us not revolting means that these landlords will continue to increase the rent every single year. Us not revolting means that these developers will continue to buy up a whole bunch of land, knock down these trees, and build overpriced ass apartment complex on top of apartment complex on top of apartment complex. Us not revolting will lead to housing prices continuing to skyrocket, mortgage rates continuing to skyrocket, and everything else known to man to live continuing to skyrocket. As much as this problem is corporate greed, another half of this problem is us not fucking revolting and taking a stand against these corrupt, greedy motherfuckers. We, as a people, have allowed them to get away with so much shit, they have become borderline unstoppable. And it's sad to say, but I think there's no coming back from this.
What's the expectation on rents coming down? Is that something we should just not expect this year?
Well, unfortunately, no. We built about 1 million new rental units. Most of them came online last year. There's about maybe 400,000 that are still coming online this year. A lot of them in the Sun Belt, but really around the country. And that was the most new housing we'd seen in like 50 years. But that pipeline is drying up because builders are facing some of the same pressures that buyers are facing, which are interest rates are really high, material costs are really high, and there's just not, so they have stopped building. And so once that supply dries up, we're going to start to see rents go up because there's, again, not enough homes.
Now, if that's not bad enough, some of these renters and landlords and property managers are asking for some unusual requirements for renting. So it's normal to ask for a W-2 or a proof of employment or, credit score. All of those things are pretty standard, but there's a few new requirements for some that got people kind of looking at things a little strange.
I got denied from a rental property in Massachusetts because I wouldn't give them my job contract because they wanted to make sure that how do I even put this? They wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to be able to be fired while I lived in this rental. And I thought that was a little odd. And I was like, my work contract, I sent you my W-2s, I sent you my social, I did a credit score, like I put down my job for a reference if you wanted to verify if I worked there or not. But you drew the line because I said it was weird for you to ask me for my job contract. Honestly, it doesn't look like I'm going to be finding a rental anytime soon, and I might just be living in a basement for the rest of my life because what the fuck is this criteria at Massachusetts?
So needless to say, she chose to draw the line and asking for her company's job contract, which seems a bit intrusive. There isn't any 100% guarantee, even with that document, that nothing bad can happen and they wouldn't lose their job either way, but it seems a bit odd and she did not want to go forward with it. Like her, others in this new generation is getting priced out of not only the potential for owning a home, that's kind of long out of the question, but getting priced out of the rental market as well. So much so that some people are opting to move out of the country in order to get affordable housing. That's where we are.
Why is the whole world in a housing crisis? And why is nothing being done to fix it? I currently live in St. Petersburg, Florida, and over the past 5 or 6 years, we've had some of the highest, if not the highest, inflation in the entire country. Our housing costs have actually doubled, which is insane to think about. And we're not even going to touch on the groceries, the gas, all of the insurance, all of that. So many people my age have just left. They've gotten completely pushed out. In fact, my city is like a retirement home. Nothing against the older people that can still afford it here. I play live music for a living, and let me tell you, it is so rare for someone my age to walk into the bar and listen to me sing. The average age of the people at my gigs is 60 plus. So my question is like, who's gonna work as a waiter? Who's gonna be the cooks? Who's gonna work at the grocery store? All the jobs that the people who can afford to live here won't do, who's gonna do that? There's gonna be a point where the people that work the jobs to sustain a society here aren't gonna commute here anymore because the commute has gotten too long. They've been pushed out too far from the center. And I used to think it was just the big cities that were going through these crises, but that's actually not the case either. I was just in Alaska, and even the tiny towns there have it worse than I do in Florida. The rent prices in places like Skagway or Juneau or Ketchikan are through the roof. Some people were telling me they were taking on like 5 or 6 roommates to a house just to afford to live there, and I'm like, it's Alaska. No shade, but like it takes a really specific kind of outdoorsy person to want to live there. Why is it more expensive than St. Pete, Florida? And it's not just this country. I'm moving to Lisbon and they have a huge housing crisis right now. I've met a little bit of resistance online, usually from keyboard trolls, but there's some Portuguese that are telling me do not come, we are full. To which I'm thinking, well, I'm coming from a housing crisis. What am I supposed to do? Just like sit here and rot? So if all of the Portuguese youth are leaving Lisbon because they can't afford it, and all of the youth in my city are leaving because they can't afford it, where are we all going? I feel like there's a huge global reshuffling going on between people moving, whether it's just between cities in their own country or moving abroad, and like I don't know how this ends. So I was kind of hoping someone smarter than me would come in here and chime in. Where is this all headed? Because if everyone my age is getting pushed out, we have to go somewhere. Why is it so expensive just to live? This is getting ridiculous. And why is nobody doing anything to fix this? I'm sorry, but this is not what we all were promised. Can someone just please tell me it's gonna get better? Because life should not be this expensive.
So places like Lisbon, Portugal, affordable living, especially if you're able to work remote, get US dollars, and move over there at an affordable rate. But even the locals of, say, Lisbon are getting priced out of their local country market as well by Americans fleeing the country, coming over there with their US dollar, and now locals in that community can afford their living either. What is the solution here? Is it homelessness? Is that the solution? And then who pays for that? And then what does the country look like with that? We're in a strange economy right now, and the current administration doesn't seem like it's making it better. I don't know. What do you guys make of this? Put your comments below. Let's talk about it. This is Where is the Money? Talk to you soon.